Alopecia areata is a specific form of hair loss. It affects certain genetically predisposed people. It's an autoimmune condition. It means that your body's immune system is attacking your hair follicles. And it causes these characteristic circular bald patches. So far, a number of genes have been identified that make people vulnerable to developing alopecia areata. And so in addition to have the genetic susceptibility, you need an environmental trigger to initiate your first patch. A lot of people talk about stress or diet or lifestyle. There's very little evidence for that. The best guess is that it's probably an intercurrent viral infection. Alopecia areata can actually affect anybody of any age. No one is safe. So we know the most common age groups are between about 19 and 60, and that accounts for about 2/3 of all the people affected. But there's also about 20% of people who get it before the age of 18. And in fact, one of the peaks of onset is around about age 5 or 6, particularly in young boys. Up until now, the main treatment have been steroid tablets. And while the steroid tablets are highly effective, generally what happened is that when you stop the treatment, a lot of people, their hair just all fell out again. And the problem with the steroid treatments was that the doses required meant that the side effects associated with the steroid tablets were often worse than the disease itself, believe it or not. But Professor Andrew Wilkes, working at the Walter Eliza Hall, discovered this whole family of medications called Janus kinase inhibitors or JAK inhibitors. And there's a couple that seem to be highly effective in alopecia areata, and this has been a really major breakthrough. And so I think we're really lucky to have these agents that are highly effective, but they've got a really good safety profile. Now, we've already seen in our clinic probably 20 or 30 patients who have been able to stop the tablets completely and have remained disease-free for a couple of years. So there is the hope that there will be some patients who can take this, fix the problem, stop the medications, get on with their life without relapse. So these medications have been approved for adults aged 18 and over. But this is a disease that affects people of all ages. And this is a medication that works in people of all ages. And so we're now starting to do the trials in children aged 5 to 17 so that they can also gain access to the benefits of these medications. These studies have started and we're now actively recruiting for children affected by alopecia to participate in the studies. And what we've seen with these medications is that the sooner you start the treatment, the better your chances of success. If you've had the disease for more than 7 years, it becomes much harder to treat. And what we've actually even seen is that if you've had it for more than 3 years, the response rate is much lower than the people who've had it for less than 3 years. And the other thing that we've also seen is that if you lose all your hair on the scalp, every hair on your head, then the response rate goes down as well. So you don't want to let people develop the alopecia totalis. You want to intervene early. Then that really optimises your chance of getting a good response to these treatments. It's actually very exciting. When I started doing this over 25 years ago, I was pretty much the lone person in Australia treating hair loss because the other doctors found it incredibly draining because the patients were so emotionally distraught by their alopecia. What we're now starting to see is that these medications are becoming increasingly available. Doctors are starting to understand that there's more and more doctors who are interested in treating these patients because they can actually see the pathway and they can actually see the benefits it brings to the patients and how transformational it is to their lives.